up everyone, it's Perlin here again, and today we've got a special interview. I'm interviewing Cerene Lowe, who is I'll be able to get a female perspective on travel, success, and her thoughts and mindset on how you can develop your success. So come in here, Cerene Lowe.
Hi everyone, my name's Cerene, as Perlin just introduced.
She's actually the Jacaranda Queen of Grafton, and Jacaranda Queen is very involved. So just to be clear, you've got to do opening events, you've got to meet with mayors and political figures and a lot of influential and important people, and do openings and do speeches and being the ambassador of the city and talking to lots of different people in these different events. So there's a lot of responsibility and pressure in terms of performing, and so and being a role model to the community. This position holds a lot of responsibility and a lot in terms of dealing with successful people, people influential people of government and of influence that really run things in the community. And so I wanted to get Cerene's perspective on how she got to this position, the requirements involved in dealing with people of such influence and such stature in society. And so she's going to give a quick few, quick tips on her mindset about how she got into this successful position and her experience being in this. And this can help you if you want to surround yourself with more successful people or people in a certain area, and you might be a bit intimidated about their achievements in life compared to yours, or their stature in society compared to yours, or just, they're kind of intimidating because, you look up to them, or you know that they've achieved a fair bit and you want to get to their level and you want to surround yourself with them, but you might be a bit unsure about how you can achieve this. So Cerene's going to give a few quick tips on her thoughts about this. So first up, Cerene, what do you think is your main mindset to building a successful life and building successful people around you in your circle of influence?
I feel that to be successful you have to be motivated, which I am. I'm very motivated in my life, but I wasn't always motivated. When I first started Jacaranda, I was very nervous and I didn't really understand what I was doing. But going through the process, I became more confident in myself. So my first speech I ever done, I got really nervous and I stopped speaking in the middle of it, and then I walked off the stage. But now I can talk in front of thousands of people and not be nervous at all.
Thousands?
Thousands.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So this year was the 80th year of Jacaranda festivities, and I think there was about 3,000 people attended the crowning, which I spoke at. I was a little bit nervous, but who is it when you're speaking in front of thousands of people? We had the Bishop, Richard, can't remember his last name. Always remember people's names. That's a big thing, because I got pretty bad memory.
Very important.
But I know how to cover it up.
So when you find yourself in those situations where maybe the challenger level is a little bit above your skill level, in terms of, you have to get up and talk to all of these different people, or you have to get introduced to, people and you can't remember their name, how do you deal with that in terms of the self-talk you say, or is there any techniques or things you say to yourself to calm yourself down and get through those situations?
I just tell myself to be confident. Every person you meet is just an average person. They're no better than anybody else. And also just wing it. If you don't know what you're doing, wing it, and it usually turns out all right. So
yeah, it's good advice.
I got put on the spot the other day actually about a speech, and was at a children's show, and I didn't know I was going to be speaking on that day, and they come up and they're like, and we'll now put the Jacaranda Queen on. So I've got up and I've started talking, and I didn't have any idea what I was talking about, but I just went with the flow, and it turned out to actually be one of my best speeches. I find if it's less rehearsed, it comes more naturally. So be natural in the way you speak with people. When you are doing a speech or you're speaking to people, influential people, or whoever it is, it could just be your neighbour's kid. Always have an honest persona and be honest who you are. Don't try to be someone else, because people notice.
And so have you ever, when you figured out this, did you have a scenario where you were trying to put on like a false front or trying to be someone different to fit into what you thought they would appreciate, and then it sort of backfired on you? Is that how you learned that lesson? Or how did you come to the realization that you need to be completely honest about who you are and your opinions and your perspectives at all times to create the most influence?
I just realised this growing up, like, people don't like a dishonest person. Like, if you're honest, you're more likely to connect with another person and be able to speak to them, and then you can find similarities between you and that person if you're just open about everything with them.
That's true. And I've definitely noticed as well myself that if you're completely honest and open about talking about different things, or you're bringing up different things, and you're not filtering out what you're saying as you're saying it, or you're not like holding back different things because you're worried about, you know, saying the wrong thing, or not having, you know, the best, you know, not getting perceived as well as you would like by the person you're speaking to or interacting with. They can tell. People are very perceptive, and they can tell if you're putting on a false front and you're being sort of fake, quote unquote. And so they can tell that, and that just makes them do the same. So if you're open and honest and you're just, you know, free and talking about different stuff, that gives them permission to do the same. So then they open up, and it's a completely different interaction than if you're both sort of worried about what each other's going to say. So the thing is, you lead first. So if you want someone to be open and relaxed and be friendly around you, you do that to them first, and it will just naturally come out of them. So that's in terms of like dealing with successful people or influential people if you're a little bit nervous. Now, I want to get into a little bit with you, Cerene, how you got out of living a normal life of you know, a day job where you just like are stuck in one town, one city, doing the same job and not really progressing. Because I've definitely noticed in my life there's different people that I grew up with, and then for some reason or other they just sort of stopped or got stuck in a certain level of their development, and it's been very hard for them to move forward. And when I see them over the years, or I contact them on Facebook or whatever, they're still in the same town doing the same things with the same group of friends, and they're not really excelling at life. And so you've traveled around the world, you've, you know, become Jacaranda Queen, Serene's a ski instructor, and Serene's also an advanced diver for snorkeling.
Scuba diving.
Scuba diving, sorry. Advanced scuba diving, ski instructor. She became ski instructor in Canada.
SES volunteer.
SES, she's been part of the SES for many years. So she's really diversified herself in a lot of areas, got into a lot of different groups, and really experienced a lot. And you're only 20 at the moment, Cerene. So she's really done a lot in a small amount of years. And so what would you say is your biggest factor, or some of your biggest factors, to help you get from sort of an average or normal life to something that you're, you know, really creating a lot for yourself and you really are pushing life to the edge?
So I would tell that person to make themselves motivated. Make that what they want to get to, make that their motivation. So push yourself to get to that level, even if it's just little goals at a time. So think, tomorrow I'm going to be better than the person I am today. And use that as your motivation. Don't sit there one day and be like, oh, I don't have the time, I don't do this. You always have the time. Even if it's only 5 minutes of exercise that day, you can sit on the couch and do exercises while you watch TV. It's lazy and exercise at the same time. I do it all the time. Look at me, I'm skinny as. But I'm probably the most laziest person you've ever met when it comes to exercise. But it works.
Do more exercise than that.
Yeah, I would say do more exercise than I do, but my goals aren't exercise or being skinny. My goals are traveling and making myself more successful. And that's what I do. I set goals for myself the next day. You don't have to be the best, you just have to do your best. So don't set your goals or expectations to someone else's levels. Set them to your own.
That's very good advice, very important as well. Like, if you base your success on outside circumstances, so say you want to be, like, you see someone, you're like, I want to be better than them, or I want to be as good as them. The problem with that is there's always someone who's better. say, you know, you want to travel and you want to go to all these countries and your success is on how many countries you visited, there's always someone who's traveled more or done more things. So you shouldn't have your success based on other people's perspectives of what is success. You should have it on your perspective of what is success. So you say, what do I value? What do I, you know, perceive as successful? What do I want to achieve myself in life? And then you go after that. And as long as you're progressing a little bit every day or a little bit every week, then you can be proud of that. And you should say, cool, you know, it wasn't that much, but at least I'm progressing. I'm not staying stagnant and I'm not slipping back in life or in the skill level of whatever you're trying to study. So say travel. And so, yeah, you should always base it off your own abilities and your success and your progression off your own abilities, not off, say, how fast someone else is achieving their goal. Because everyone achieves at different levels and different speeds in life and with different tasks. So say someone might be able to travel a lot easier than you can, and you want to travel also, but they suck at public speaking, and maybe you're very good at public speaking. So they're jealous of your public speaking skills and you're jealous of their traveling skills, and it can create a bit of discontent.
Yeah.
But if you always go on base off your own goals, then it's very easy to maintain that motivation because you're just getting better time after time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very good. Cool, yeah, so that's a great thing, it's small stepping it. So Cerene, do you have an example, say, with like public speaking, because you've obviously progressed a lot in that area? Could you give us an example of how you began and you small stepped it along the way to be able to talk to thousands of people?
Yeah. So as I told you before, I wasn't the best public speaker when I first started, but I slowly progressed by just practicing. Sometimes I'd practice in the mirror, and then it slowly went to work. I would talk to people at work, like customer service, and then when work had events on and stuff, I would ask my boss if I could speak in front of all the customers. But they were all people I felt comfortable in. So I would slowly be expanding the people I could talk in. So I would go to bigger events and talk at those, until one day I got up on the stage in front of thousands of people and I realised I wasn't as nervous as when I first started.
That's good, that's good. See, small step it and you can get there. All you have to do is create little goals and you can achieve anything you can think of. That's very good.